Have you ever felt like running away? Or have you ever been blamed for something that you just didn't do? Well, sometimes it's really hard to be a kid. And I felt like this song by I'm Just a Kid by Simple Plan captures that. So I'm going to play a portion of the song and put the lyrics up so you have the lyrics as you listen.
I woke up, it was 7, I waited till 11 to figure out that no one would call. I think I've got a lot of friends, but I don't hear from them. What's another night all alone? When you're spending every day on your own, and here it goes. I'm just a kid, life is a nightmare. I'm just a kid, I know that it's not fair. Nobody cares, 'cause I'm alone and the world is having more fun than me tonight. And
Well, sometimes when you're a kid, things just don't go as planned. And I wanted to share a little picture of yours truly when I was a kid. A squirrely, pasty, paste-eating kindergartner back in the day. 55 years ago. It's hard to believe. But Eli doesn't feel like his life is fair right now. And you're going to find out why. Chapter number 3, Table for Two Again. I'm soaked, Murph announced as he reached for the door of Eli's house. I'm going to go get dry. See you tomorrow. He was off before Eli could say goodbye. Eli flung open the door to the mudroom and heard his mom's voice from the kitchen. Be sure to wash those dirty hands and rinse your face. Eli, pre-meal etiquette was important to his mom, so he knew that he better comply. Meals in the dining room often gave Eli a weird feeling. It was odd to sit down at a formal table for 8 and have only 2 people eating dinner, just him and his mom. It felt like they should be playing a game of chess, not sharing a family meal. Eli missed his dad. He had been hauntingly absent from dinners lately as he was trying to give the Motor City a little economic pickup. Detroit was an aging metropolis that was slowly becoming a modern-day ghost town. Once a manufacturing hub, this town, nearly overgrown with weeds, felt like a city that had lost its rhythm. Not dead yet, but definitely on life support. His dad had told Eli once that it would take the city of Detroit until 2023 to recover from the economic downturn that began in 2008. Eli decided to address the thought that he guessed was on his mother's mind. So where's Dad? Working late. Again, Mom said, pushing her flowing brown hair behind her ears in a nervous gesture. Trying to save the world? Eli countered with a tinge of bitterness. I think he would settle for keeping Martin Motors afloat. Mom gave Eli a pitcher of water to bring to the table. All of a sudden, Eli exploded. Why isn't Dad ever home for dinner? Is it asking too much? Most kids in class have their father who comes home for evening meals. I might as well have a cardboard cutout of Dad sitting at the table. At least that way someone would be here. Your father's a very busy man these days, Mom said. Murph's dad's home for dinner, at least on the nights when he isn't out of town on business. Eli stabbed at his food, then slammed down his fork. I know. It's just not that easy. She wanted Eli to drop the topic, but she didn't know what to say. Instead, she started wiping at an invisible spot on the table. What's so hard about showing up? Remember the Woody Allen quote that you told me? 80% of life is just showing up. Can he at least make it 20% of the time? Am I asking too much? I promise, the season'll pass, Mom pleaded. She reached out to touch his hand. Eli let her at first, but then withdrew his hand away. He was gathering the courage to ask the question that he had wondered so many times before. Does Dad love me? Does he even know that I exist? Of course he does, Eli, Mom said assuringly. You probably don't know this, but 2 out of the 3 biggest car companies in our country have filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. And the city of Detroit filed for bankruptcy too. Bankruptcy means you're out of money. I know. Is it really that bad? Eli asked, as a raindrop-sized tear slid down his cheek. Your dad's working really hard so that won't happen to Martin Motors, she said. How can I help? Mom blurted, buried her hands in her head, and stated, Can you make a car that runs on water? Don't think so, Eli returned. How about a car that drives itself? Google already figured that one out, Mom. Oh, yeah, I read about that. She looked up at a chandelier, which had been there for almost a century. How about a car that it can actually fly? You mean like a pod racer? Eli replied. Kind of like that, but higher. A car like that could revolutionize the automobile industry. Eli got very quiet. But of course, you know that's impossible, Mrs. Martin said. Eli started to nod his head knowingly, then asked if he could excuse himself from the dinner table. But you hardly touched her food, Mrs. Martin replied. I've got some work to do. Good night. And with that, Eli completed his second disappearing act of the day. Chapter 3, Table for Two again.